I turned myself in on my own accord to try to get this taken care of. So I'm just hoping to see if I can get a bond today, so I can be home for Christmas. I paid the bondsman $500 to get me to court. When I called the bondsman tells me he's out of town. I don't know.
I don't understand why you're telling me that it's up to your bondsman to get you to court. That
I'm
looks
going to be
like
sitting
where it
here
is.
till January 3rd.
What?
I'm going to be sitting here till January 3rd after I've been sitting in jail 10 days.
Imagine turning yourself in right before Christmas, hoping the judge will show mercy. And instead, you're staring at the very real possibility of spending the holiday behind bars. That's exactly the situation for Mr. Kelly, a man caught in the middle of a 4-year-old theft case that just won't let him go. Now here's the kicker. He actually skipped court once before. His bond was revoked, and the court slapped him with a no-bond hold. But after sitting in jail for 10 days, he's begging the judge for another chance.
How you doing today?
Fine. Are you Mr. Kelly?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm Judge Sanders. We're just having a docket call today. That's the purpose of this. And what it is, Mr. Kelly, is that's a 2020 case that you had. And apparently, the state is requesting that your probation on that case be revoked and that you.
Yes, sir. So, I bonded out on that case, correct? And I paid the bondsman $500 to get me to court. When I called the bondsman tells me he's out of town. So I called Judge Sanderfield's office 3 times. Then I called the court clerk 3 times, and I called the district attorney's office and try to get a Zoom link. They told me they couldn't give me a Zoom link on the case. So I called back my bondsman. He says, well, what you need to do is start walking. So I called my attorney, Watts, at the time, and he said there was nothing he could do for me. So 10 days ago, I just got a new job working at Kohl's, making $27 an hour. 10 days ago, on Friday the 13th, I go turn myself in to Sedgwick County to get this taken care of. And then, I guess they finally just get a hold of you guys a couple of days ago on the 20th and said that I was ready to be picked up. But I turned myself in. I did everything I was supposed to do to try to get to court on back in July. I did. I mean, I called everybody I could, tried the judge, everybody, so my bond wouldn't get revoked. And then, I turned myself in on my own accord to try to get this taken care of. So I'm just hoping to see if I can get a bond today, so I can be home for Christmas. I did do my part of turning myself in and did everything I could back in July to get here. And I just want to get this taken care of. It's a 4-year-old case, sir. And like I said, I just got a $27 an hour paying job, and I just would like to get it taken care of.
It looks like back in June, your judge revoked your bond. You failed to appear.
Yes.
The court issued a bench warrant and a no bond hold.
Yes, sir. I understand that because I didn't show up in court, but it wasn't my fault. I paid the bondsman $500 to get me here, and he couldn't get me here. It was his duty to get me here when I paid him $500. I bonded out and gave him $500 to make sure I got here. And then when he told me he couldn't get me here, I called everybody I could. The judges' chambers. I called the district attorney. I called everybody I could, and it was all documented. And I even called Mr. Watts, my lawyer at the time, and no one could help me out. But now that I got this new paying job, I turned myself in on my own accord. I figured I should at least be able to get a bond so I can I'm trying to do what's right here, by turning myself in and getting this taken care of. And
He swears he turned himself in on his own accord to make things right, and all he wants now is to be home for Christmas. Sounds reasonable at first, right? But then he starts talking. According to him, the whole reason he missed court in the first place is because, wait for it, his bondsman didn't bring him. Yes, you heard that correctly. He paid the bondsman $500, And in his mind, that meant the guy was responsible for physically getting him to court. When the bondsman was out of town, Kelly says he called the judge's chambers, the clerk's office, even the DA, trying to figure out what to do. None of that worked, so he just gave up. Now in court, he's trying.
I don't understand why you're telling me that it's up to your bondsman to get you to court.
Well, I paid him $500 to make sure I got here.
How much was your bond?
5,000.
Well, that's just the bondsman's fees for putting the money up for you. That's not the.
I figured that's the, well,
That's not
ain't
to
it their
pick you up
job to
and
make sure I
haul you
get
to
here?
court.
Ain't it their job to make sure I get to court though?
No, not unless you got some special arrangement with him, and that's nothing that the court has to do. And that's just his fee to make a bond for you so that you don't have to put up any money. Well, all right, in any event, Judge Satterfield has set that as a no bond hold. She wants to see you before she'd even consider bond, and I'm not going to do a sideways appeal on this and overrule her. So
I can't get no bond?
Nope, no bond. Now, what they have done is give you a special setting, expedited hearing on your case. And this is for bond revocation. And it's at 1:30 on January the 3rd. And that's to be in person.
And Your Honor,
And no bond until that time. Yes, Mr. Regier.
based off of the state's information, that is a 1 o'clock setting, but I believe it is an in-person setting on January 3rd.
I thought I said that. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, it's in person, right?
That is the state's understanding, Your Honor.
Yes, I understand that too. So, that
So I'm
looks
gonna
like
be sitting
where it
here
is.
till January 3rd.
What?
I'm gonna be sitting here till January 3rd after I've been sitting in jail 10 days.
Yes. Well, I might suggest that you do. I take it that you don't have money for a lawyer, and Mr. Watts had previously represented you. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what you might do, because I'm at this point, I'm going to go ahead and reappoint him for you, is you might get a hold of him and see.
Ain't no way of getting a hold of him. I've been trying to get a hold of him for a week.
You have his number?
Yeah, I got his number. My wife got his number. My mom got his number. We all been trying to get a hold of him for a week. I've been sitting in Sedgwick County Jail for a week.
Well, I'd suggest that maybe you try to give him a call this afternoon. If in any event,
How's that gonna help me any?
well, he could maybe file an emergency motion with Judge Satterfield, because I'm not going to overrule another judge here on that.
All right, so I guess we done here then.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. You're excused.
Your Honor, could you repeat the time for the January 3rd date,
Yes.
please?
It's January the 3rd at 1 p.m. and she wants that in person. So I take it that means he needs to be at the courthouse in court.
Trying to frame himself as the victim of a broken system. He says he did everything he could, called everyone, turned himself in, and even got a new job paying $27 an hour at Kohl's. He paints himself as a man trying to do the right thing, just asking for a little leniency so he can spend the holidays at home. But here's where the sympathy starts to slip. Because at the end of the day, no matter how many calls he claims he made, no matter how many excuses he piles up, he didn't show up to court. And in the eyes of the law, that's all that matters. So now the tension is thick in the courtroom. Kelly is hoping for mercy, hoping for a bond, hoping for Christmas at home. The judge? He's got to decide if this story is worth believing, or if this man is simply trying to dodge responsibility one more time. The judge leans forward, eyes locked on Kelly, and it's clear right away this man isn't buying the story. He tells Kelly flat out, "You're responsible for being in court, period." There's no wiggle room, no excuses. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what your bondsman said or where he was. It was your job to show up. And then comes the part Kelly didn't want to hear. The judge reminds him, this case is already 4 years old. It's been dragging on. And every delay just makes it worse. The court doesn't want excuses, it wants resolution. And Kelly? Well, he's looking less like a man who made one mistake and more like someone who's been playing games with the system. You can feel Kelly's hope slipping away. He keeps insisting that he turned himself in, that he's trying to do better, that he just wants a bond so he can go back to work and provide for his family. But the judge isn't swayed. The no-bond order stays. Christmas at home? Gone. That high-paying job? On hold. In one moment, all the begging, all the excuses, all the phone calls he claimed to have made, they meant nothing. The cold reality hit. He's staying in jail, and this case isn't going away until he faces it head-on. And that's the brutal truth of the courtroom. You can dress it up however you want, blame the bondsman, blame miscommunication, but when the gavel drops, the responsibility is always yours.